to the Wandering Creatives Podcast. I'm your host, Allie, and joining me today are Sarah Plunk and Drew Bowie of SKP Inc. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
I am super pumped to have you on the pod and can't thank you enough for joining me. SKP Inc. Skip Inc. is all about bringing joy and fun to people through bad jokes, dad jokes, all the jokes. and you do that through you've got cards, buttons, stickers, bookmarks, like everything. And I have to say, as a consumer and kind of fan of your artwork and terrible jokes, I have to say that your shit is it's super fucking adorable. Like I'm such a fan, and I'm also super impressed at your joke output. Got a lot of jokes.
We puns for days, man.
Yeah, for days. Unfortunately,
forever.
It's just how we think now.
Yeah.
So.
I originally ran into you at a couple of markets that we do in the Raleigh area.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I kind of walked past your booth and I was looking at all your stuff and I was like, man, how did they come up with these? I thought about doing like punny stickers and stuff before, and I'm just not.
Creative enough. If you ever need some, they kind of just fall out of my head. So whether I want them to or not. So
we always have a list going too of stuff that we haven't gotten to yet or want to try to riff on.
And like if a customer, like we get a lot of custom orders and stuff. So they'll usually tell her like, okay, this is what I want in terms of drawing. And then she'll come to me and we'll, quickly riff off that and go from there kind of thing.
Oh my God. The creativity is just wild because I have one in my brain and I'm like, I don't know if I can make this into something. So I might have to send my bad joke to both of you. So
we can always riff with you.
Yeah. Dude, our we just got a license plate that says bad jokes.
I love it. Now, Sarah and Drew, I'm not sure, feel free to chime in, I guess, here. Yeah. But you started skipping 3 years ago, Sarah, after quitting your full-time job. Has Drew been with you kind of through the whole quitting and starting something new?
So it kind of all started, I was decorating the kitchen, I guess, by just drawing.
Our walls were blank. I mean, we literally had no decorations.
We had no decorations. So we threw up a couple of cute little like food pun things, like a bagel and tacos, things that we enjoy.
Things that go in a kitchen.
Yes. And probably like a couple weeks later, someone's birthday came up. And we were like, oh man, I bet I could make a card out of one of these and like use it for that birthday. And then that happened a couple more times. And eventually
we quit our jobs and started doing this full time.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of all just snowballed into this happening.
Yeah.
I always tell people it happened on accident, but
more or less.
There was one huge riff session that we had, I would say, to begin it all.
Yeah.
And there's no way that I would have ever left the comfort of a corporate job if Drew wasn't
psychotic. Oh, no, that's not the word you're looking for.
No, supportive and kind of like pushing me to just try it,
That's super brave. To just kind of throw caution to the wind.
It was brave and stupid and luckily has worked out.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, because we met at a corporate recruiting company. She was did admin stuff. I was a recruiter for mechanical contracting. So, and I left first and originally had started my own recruiting thing, which I don't know, was kind of boring. I just didn't like it. So it's like, forget this nonsense. So,
and then I guess it just felt like, we're young, we don't have kids.
Oh, you're young.
It just felt like if there were ever a time to try something like this, it was now. So just
here goes nothing.
Went for it.
I'm super impressed because I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to quit my job and start my own business. How can I start planning for it like a year out? So when it comes, like I'm a little prepared. But to just be like, fuck it. Like, this is what we
I think that's what normal people do.
Yeah.
And we kind of went along the route of fuck it.
Sometimes you just got to do it, though. I love it.
And definitely, like, what we first envisioned, I don't think is the same as what happened.
No, you wanted to be like the next Oshkosh Bagosh with all your freaking ones.
Yeah, we did a bunch of baby onesies at first. And we also had cards. So yeah, it just kind of developed over the years of like what was working and, what people were reacting the most to, what was easy for us to create.
What paid our rent.
Yes.
Sarah, you do the illustrations, which are, like I said earlier, fucking adorable. Like your artwork is amazing. I have to stop myself from buying more things than I should when I see your stuff. Did you always kind of do art? Like, did you have any kind of like presence, I guess, like selling art or illustrations or anything?
Not really. Like it's interesting, like going back home and going through a bunch of old stuff in my parents' house. There's like this book I made in, I don't know, 3rd grade or something. And in the beginning of it, it says, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said an artist. But I feel like from the time that book happened to like high school, that absolutely changed. And I took an art class in high school. And because I thought it would be, easy and fun. And during that, I was like, oh man, I forgot that I really love this. So in college, I drew a little bit, mostly just like for friends. And it was all very like black and white, stippling, like different from my cartoonish stuff that I do now. And then kind of after college, when I had a real job, I stopped drawing for a long time. And then one day Drew and I were talking and I was like, oh yeah, by the way, like I used to draw a lot.
I came across like your portfolio or something. I was like, the hell is this? Who did these? These are cool.
So he like went out and bought me a bunch of art supplies and was like, you need to do this.
I love the support. Like, it's awesome to have like a partner who's willing to like push you and be like, hey, you look at this. It's fucking amazing. Keep doing it. Oh, by the way, yes, you should do this full time. Let's quit our jobs. Like, that's amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah, because otherwise I just never really thought about it. Never thought this was an option of things to do. I mean, like did you think you could just tell jokes for a living?
Yeah.
Why did I go to college?
Drew, I'm assuming you've always been good with the puns, or did you have to like up your game?
Impulsive as well, obviously. But yeah, I have a reasonable grasp on the English language that aids me on that, I think.
And I was actually never into puns really until we started kind of doing this. And now, like he said, it's how our brains work now. Like everything, you're walking through the grocery store and you see something.
Yeah.
And like, your brain's just like, oh.
Your brain turns it into a card.
Mac and cheese. Something cheesy. I don't know. So we started writing a bunch of stuff down in a phone and just keeping a big list of like, ooh, we could draw that later. Or like, we can figure that out later and come up with more stuff.
Do the puns usually come before the artwork, or do you ever like do something and then come up with a pun after you've drawn it?
I think normally the puns probably come first, or unless it's like a custom request, then most of the time that's someone saying like, hey, can you do this animal?
Yeah.
And then we've kind of figured out some stuff that might be funny with that.
Yeah.
Or like recently I had someone ask for French fry drawing and they wanted it to be turned into a birthday card. So I just like went downstairs and I was like, all right, let's talk about French fries for a while. And
I was excited because I thought I had French fries coming, but I was very wrong.
A lot of people ask us, how many drugs do you do to make to make this possible?
A lot.
And like
a lot. No, I'm just kidding.
None. Like, I mean, like, and Drew doesn't drink. I hardly drink. People are always like, you'd be so fun at a bar. And I'm like, maybe.
You're like, nah, I'd have one drink. I want to take a nap.
Yeah, exactly. That is me.
your brand, it's so fun, and you guys have really like honed in.
Thank you. It's funny to look back at like our first market.
Oh, Jesus.
And our like little setup and how awful it looked.
Yeah.
And just like, man, I can't believe anyone bought anything from us that day. I mean, we've come a long way for sure, but it was just basically just sheets of paper and like a couple onesies on a table, and that was it. You know, it was just like
you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere.
But it's fun to look back at that and be like, man, we have really honed in on marketing, I guess, that works and brings people to our booth and that kind of thing.
And then also on the business side of stuff, just doing tons of research on how to make everything more efficient, more cost effective.
You guys actually make everything in-house.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, which is how we keep our costs pretty low. We're definitely a volume business. Yeah. So, I mean, I always tell people like I do the illustrations, Drew's the funny one, and then we print, cut, fold, seal,
all kinds of whatever it is, make buttons.
Yeah, press buttons. Everything at home. The stickers we are not making.
Yeah, we outsource those.
Those are new to us, and we were kind of trying them out and seeing if people like them enough to maybe get into the sticker game. We wanted to make sure that was worth it before we went into that. But I mean, they're going well.
Yeah.
But yeah, every card is hand folded and cut and, paired with an envelope and stuffed into a little cellophane sleeve.
It allows us to keep, our prices low too. So, which is a big thing. Cause I mean, when you go in the store and see cards for $6 a piece or whatever, I mean, it's absurd for something you're just going to throw away. So, and being that we live within such close proximity of so many colleges, you got all these poor college kids. They'd love to go to stuff like this, but I mean, so much of, maker events, all the merchandise is really pricey, as it should be.
Right. A lot.
I mean, so it's nice to be able to be the low ball one. I guess we're the cheapos. We're the friends in low places.
Has always been my goal, is to be like a very affordable booth at markets and stuff. Yeah. That's so impressive that you make everything in-house, and it's very smart one, right? Because you do keep your overhead costs like low, which I think every creative is looking to do.
Right. And it's always like a big investment on the front end, but I definitely think over time it's worth it that we have like this massive printer that we can print a bunch of cardstock on. And
then we lost our guest bedroom to a second office.
Yeah, it's kind of, the whole upstairs is basically just a factory of randomness and bad jokes.
Yeah, and dogs.
And dogs.
Yes, all the puppies.
Do you know what goes great with listening to podcasts? If you said a warm drink, you're absolutely right. Just imagine, you're sitting back, you're listening to your favorite podcast, all while holding a nice, cute-ass mug in your hand with your favorite hot beverage in it. If you're wondering, where can I get a mug like that? Well, you're in luck. You can swing by the Coutts Creations Cute Coffee and Tea Mugs Etsy shop. They've got everything from enamel coffee cups to travel mugs, all featuring adorable original artwork. Head over to etsy.com/shop/Coutts Creations and use promo code WANDER for 10% off any mug.
You guys do a lot of market events, but something I wanted to chat with you about today, because I think it's something that a lot of makers are interested in, but they don't necessarily know how to get into it and what it all entails.
Yeah.
So I really kind of wanted to hear about your experiences with selling your items in stores and doing wholesale, especially because you do make everything in-house.
So we did start out doing consignment in several local stores. And I mean, that always worked well for us and is nice because you could kind of change it up from time to time. And
it was easy. It's an easy pitch to a store, obviously, because there's no risk on their end.
Right. Mm-hmm. And actually, one of the stores was the one that kind of brought us into wholesale. They were like, look, you guys are doing well. You seem to really hustle and have a good product. So Deco in downtown Raleigh were amazing and like brought us in one day and
met with, what was she, some sort of rep
she
for a
was
wholesale card?
A wholesale sales rep, I guess.
Yeah.
And they showed us like some catalogs of people that they buy wholesale from and what all that looks like, and told us about huge like
conferences and conventions and stuff.
Conventions where they sell and where they would like pick out products and things like that. And they even offered to take us to one, which never happened. I think COVID kind of knocked that off the table. But yeah, so we were very lucky that we had someone hold our hand.
And just kind of show us. I mean, because I don't know, I was blown away by it.
I'm not even sure I was one of those people that was like, I don't get it. Consignment is what I've been doing and that's what feels comfortable. But now that we are in the wholesale game, it's so much easier.
I mean, part of it too is you have to be okay with hearing no also.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So but that's the worst that can happen.
Yeah.
At least now you know where you stand with that place. There's no more wondering.
Yeah. There's definitely
we sent out email blasts and stuff like that to tons of people, like, hey, if you want to carry this, blah blah blah, which would probably get a zillion of, but whatever. Most of the time it wouldn't work, but sometimes it did.
Well, and there was another maker that pointed us in the direction of wholesale too, and I was like, but will people even buy it? Or I was rocking the imposter syndrome pretty hard, and she was like, dude, just do it. Just try it. Yeah. Which I think is great advice. Like, it's easy to feel like you don't have like a product that's worthy. At least for me, like I've definitely had some like confidence issues I've had to get over, and especially selling yourself. Like, I am not a salesman. I'm a person that if you say no to me, I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry. I'll never bother you again.
Yep. I think a lot of yes. I feel that.
I think a lot of makers are introverted, and that's not a comfortable thing to do. Luckily, a lot of it is online.
Yeah. Yes. And you also have a partner that is.
Yeah, he's a salesman for sure. He can talk to like anything.
A wall
For sure.
Something else I wanted to ask before we got too far into the conversation. Could you kind of explain a little bit what we mean when we say wholesale?
Oh, yeah. I definitely didn't understand it too when people started asking me either. I think we had a couple shop owners see our booth and ask us if we did wholesale. And I was like, I don't know. Tell me more. So when you have your items in a store or under consignment, you're basically just bringing, let's say, 50 cards to them. And if they sell half of them, then you get paid on that half. But with wholesale,
and others, some places it's like booth rental stuff almost.
So they take a percentage of that. And with wholesale, it's more they buy everything outright, but at a cheaper cost. So it's guaranteed that you're getting paid on all of it, and they buy in bulk normally. So that makes it worth it that you're selling at a lower price. So for us, that's so much easier. We have like 500 products at least.
Oh, wow.
So with consignment, you have to like choose what you think is going to be best for that store and sometimes trade it in and out and see what's working. With wholesale, they pick it all out and you just have to make it and deliver it. And that's it. And then you're done.
I think sometimes I know personally, I just started doing consignment in a shop and it was kind of the same conversation that, do you want to do consignment or do you want to do wholesale? And I was like, the fuck, what are these things?
Yeah, I've never heard of it. Tell me more.
Yeah. And so I kind of dipped my toe in, but I was like, okay, what is wholesale? How do you explain that? And I think you did it perfectly.
It feels like really different when you haven't done it, I guess. It seems like unattainable for some reason, but it's not. It seems scary, but you just got to try it.
Because you guys do make everything in-house. Yeah. Have you ever, I don't know, in my mind, I'm imagining these stores coming in and being like, okay, we want 200. I don't know if it's ever that large of an order, but are you ever like, oh shit,
So that is like, that was one thing too that I was nervous about beforehand. I was like, what if they order like 1,000 cards and that takes us too long to make or whatever? So basically the responses I was getting from like Drew or other makers was like, that's an awesome problem to have. Yeah. So if that's what's stopping you, just go for it and you'll figure it out. There was one order recently where we got like 250 coasters that they wanted, which takes some time to make for sure. And I mean, we've worked with that store for a while, so they understand that it'll take time. But that one was like, okay, all hands on deck. Anytime you're awake, you are in some way creating a coaster.
Making coasters nonstop.
Yes, it was like every flat surface upstairs had a coaster drying on it, or, you know. So there's been
some crazy orders. How much did we do for the dog rescues for Christmas?
Oh yeah, Christmas is always insane, man. Yeah. A lot of the dog rescues that we work with, we did Christmas cards for them. And we did them at like under wholesale pricing as kind of like a donation. And I mean, so I think we did 3 or 4 rescues this past Christmas. Yeah. And like each of them were 500 cards.
Yeah. Yeah, 500 to 1,000.
So like in December,
calluses on your fingers from like folding cards.
I do get like weird little, not calluses, but like I can feel it the next day. You're not used to using like this muscle in your hand that much. So you're like, oh man, I folded so many cards that my hand is like cramped.
Had you been in business a while before you thought about like jumping into wholesale, or
I think probably a year or so,
maybe,
a year or less. We were doing consignment in probably like 15 stores, and it was becoming a lot to manage. So once other people started encouraging us to look into wholesale and we were really learning what that meant, it was definitely like, oh, okay, that's the next step. Like that's what we got to work towards now. So I think it was probably about a year or so in.
I have a question about consignment because because you said 15 stores. I'm like, damn, that's a lot of stores to be in. Did you, because I think Drew, you had mentioned, shooting out emails and people saying yay or nay. When you were looking to do like consignment or to get in shops, did you just kind of do a search of like local small stores and approach them?
I would go on Facebook sometimes and like do a search for whatever kind of store.
We did a lot of Googling or Facebooking, I guess, of gift shops. And I mean, we started out just focusing on local or North Carolina, really. Yeah. And then came across like some cute places in Virginia and Kentucky and reached out to them. I mean, some of the places we've still never visited, but we have consignment stuff set up with them because they're kind of like grandfathered in.
Yeah, they're grandfathered in.
But yeah, we were just searching for what was out there as options and reaching out and saying, hey, this is what we do. I think we would mostly send them to Etsy.
Yeah.
Be like,
time.
So
but,
yeah.
Unfortunately, we were fortunate in the background that we came from, where we met. It's basically what we did all the time with recruiting. She was always looking up the information for various companies, and I was contacting random people out of the blue to try to sell them something. So like, it didn't change much. It was just different products.
It's a really good like team dynamic because like I said, I do not like reaching out to someone and being like, hey, buy my stuff.
Yeah.
That's just not me. But Drew's like so natural with that. And
she's like, it would be cool to do a dog rescues Christmas cards 2 days later. So I have orders from 4 dog rescues.
That's amazing. I think like consignment and wholesale, they're areas where a lot of makers, I think, kind of think of, especially when people who are just getting started.
Yeah.
But I think like a kind of a really good like bit of advice based off of, what you guys have said is to really just like to start finding the little shops that you want to be in and just reach out. And the worst that can happen is they'll say no.
Yeah.
And then like seeing what works best at shops.
It's a great way to cut your teeth versus wholesale. You know what I mean? Because if you screw up one of their orders or something, then, you might never hear back. Whereas with consignment, there's no risk from them.
Right.
So,
And you like tend to know the owners and like
it's
get
much
to know the
smaller.
shop. Yeah.
It's not like we get to do that with the Marshalls group or anything.
Right. Yeah.
You mentioned a few pros and cons of selling wholesale.
Yeah.
But if you had to like name your favorite thing about doing wholesale and something that you don't enjoy about doing wholesale, what would those be?
It's a great, like, it's so much easier. It's just easier. Like, it takes a ton of work on the front end to build your catalog and have all your pictures be pretty and, write all your listings.
Yeah.
But once you have all of that, it's just people coming to you and being like, hey, we want this, this, and this. And then you do it, you send it out, and it's over. So it's definitely just easier.
Yeah. For what we do, it's super easy, but
and then you don't have to keep checking in on the store and because they come to you rather than you going to them and being.
I could see where it works also very well because of what we do and because we can manufacture stuff so easily. If we were making handmade, I don't know, rocking horses, then like it might be a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, where you can't pump those out like you can.
Or like cards. Your uncle, we talked to him for a while. Drew's uncle is the basket man.
Yeah, it's literally thebasketman.com, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
And he travels around to like huge festivals
and Renaissance fairs and stuff like that.
And sells his baskets. And he's done it for years.
Oh yeah, that's all he's done for like the last couple decades.
So we talk to him a lot because it's a great resource for, that's what we aspire to.
Yeah.
And we talked to him about wholesale and it's like, we print out things, fold them and cut them and then send them away. But for him, it's like way more time consuming. So
shipping was an issue too.
And shipping because our stuff is not heavy. His stuff is heavy or like awkwardly shaped.
Yeah, he's like, I'm paying to ship air basically.
Yeah. So there are things like that to consider too, like your product. If you make smaller things, like we have various levels of products, I would say, like some are way heavier or way harder to ship. So if you have a lot of what we do for wholesale is just cards.
Yeah.
Most places are only buying cards from us. It's like kind of a special option for stores that we know to get coasters because we are hand making those and they take a lot more effort. If we've been in personal contact with a store, we can hook them up with coasters, but it's not something that we have advertised on our wholesale website right now because it's just not feasible.
Yeah. I think one of the good things too is like now with the internet, like if you're looking to get into something, you can pretty much guarantee that somebody else has run into the same questions, got the same problems, and you can find out like from somebody else online. And like, just on the Amazon was really good. Like some of the Amazon forums and stuff, because we have our stuff on Amazon Handmade. So, and going through the forums for that and stuff were pretty interesting. With people having the same gripes or the same, good things, bad things, like either way.
Yeah, I will second that Amazon comment. I started to do Amazon homemade and then I was like, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh.
What are these? And I just like pieced out. I was like, this is too much.
The seller side of it is so not user friendly. One other thing with wholesale is someone gave me this advice and it was great advice is to, look at other brands that you admire or that like sell something similar and just see what they are doing, like it's okay to look at other people's and kind of just get fun ideas from that or like ideas on how to take your pictures.
And don't be afraid to like reach out to other vendors and stuff, like people are stoked if they come to you or, if somebody came to me for advice on something, I'm happy to give it because I'm excited that somebody actually thinks that somebody cares. Like, of course, I'll give you way more than you care.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's a cool thing about like the creative and like maker community as well. Like we're all pretty like chill people, I feel like, and are pretty open and enjoy talking about what we do. So that's an amazing piece of advice.
I love the little maker community.
And it's not uber like competitive where it's like, people actually want to help each other. It's not like, well, then they're going to sell more than I will.
We wonder that sometimes about like when we bring dogs out, Because I feel like people will just be drawn to the dogs over product.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a brilliant marketing.
Yeah, but it brings some people over. I tell you what,
it does. Which I do want to talk about the work that you do with fostering dogs and dog rescues, because as you mentioned, like you will make Christmas cards for them as part of their, to help them like kind of market, I assume, like during the holiday season. And then you also bring foster dogs to the markets that you do to socialize them and also to try to, help them find their forever homes.
Meet their home.
Meet their
which
fans.
I absolutely love. And I've actually met
Monkey.
She's huge.
She's a big girl. Yeah, we work
with is big ones. So
we work with giant hearts, giant dogs.
Yeah. Is who we're fostering her through. And I work with like the American Bull Mastiff Association Rescue, some folks at Great Dane Rescue, Cane Corso, a bunch of different like Mastiff ones that
the Big Mutt Network.
Yeah.
So we have one dog who is our foster fail or success.
But now mascot.
Yeah.
And keeper of our Instagram page for As his Miles and Foster Friends Instagram.
So he's like our smallest dog that we ever have.
Yeah. And he's like 75 pounds.
But our last foster, Pickles, she was a Great Dane. She was about a year old.
She was 10 months old when we got her.
She was 10 months old when we got her. She didn't have a name and she was super anxious and like scared of men. But bringing her to markets really helped. Getting, just being around people and seeing that people were nice.
Yeah. And a lot of other dogs to be around as well.
Yeah.
She came from like a backyard breeder where like 30 other dogs kind of thing. And they didn't think she was cute enough to be used as a breeding dog, and she hadn't sold. So they were just going to basically take her to be put down.
Which is just madness. But we met her family at a market last like Halloween-ish time.
Yeah.
So she has this huge backyard now that she lives in Holly Springs, and her name is Mabel now.
Yeah.
But we always like to name them something fun because it's just more fun.
Yeah.
I mean, with your punny background, you should be able to come
it's kind of wild because it's gone from like to where we would have to like search out like, man, I hope we can find like a cool foster dog, whatever. But when now all the rescues just contact me. So the thing is, like a lot of the local shelters, they won't actually list giant breed dogs for adoption. So they contact, they have rescue contacts that they hit up, and if they can't, then they put the poor thing down. Which is how we ended up with the Newfoundland.
Yeah, we got a Newfoundland for like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We were supposed to go and evaluate him, just to make sure he was like not aggressive, so that he could go to a foster within the rescue we work with. And we went and they were like, yeah, he's listed as aggressive. He was like 2 years old.
135 pounds.
Yeah, big boy.
Oh my God.
So we took him out to like the little, play area that they have at Wake County. And immediately he was just like the biggest, goofiest teddy bear.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, well.
Yeah, clearly this dog is cool.
But then they were like, we thought we were just going to basically say like yes or no. And they were like, well, he was due to be put down yesterday. So like, if you guys leave him here.
Oh my God.
So we were like, okay, well, he's coming home
with us.
Have you like always kind of done dog fostering stuff or what got you into it, I guess?
We started doing, Saving Grace does weekend fostering.
It's a good way to dip your toe into it.
Yeah. So it's kind of just like they get the dogs into a home. I mean, they hope that home adopts them, but it gives the dogs time away from being in a rescue.
Yeah.
So we did a couple dogs like weekend fostering through them. And then since we work from home, we love dogs, but we were like, at first we were like, well, fostering's great because you basically get a dog for free.
The rescue pays for all the food, all the medical.
The rescue pays for everything. They send toys. So you just have to like hang out with the dog until they get adopted. We were never planning on adopting a dog. And then we had Miles for like a year before someone put in an application for him. I mean, he was
he couldn't be listed for adoption for at least like the first 6 months because it was heartworms and a bunch of other stuff that we had to fix first.
Yeah.
So.
But then once someone put in an application, we were like, but he's ours.
Yeah, it was. Sarah rolls over in bed, and I'm just holding him, crying. I was like, I can't let him go.
And I was like, I can't do it. Can't do it. Nope. I will get attached to every animal that comes into my home.
Yeah. It's hard not to.
It's always bittersweet, like, and if I didn't have her, there would be 30 dogs in the house probably. So thank God for the voice of reason here.
People always ask me, like, how do you let them go? And I don't have a soul. I don't know.
Yes. I'm a train wreck when they leave.
Like I'm just happy for them. And then we stay in contact with the new family.
Yeah.
And so, we get updates on them, and like they all deserve to have their own little.
Or like sometimes it's impossible to keep them, like when you get a Great Dane that has puppies. Unknown.
Well, that's so we kept Miles, and then we were like, okay, the agreement was we'll adopt him as long as we can still foster one dog at a time. So the first dog that we got was a Great Dane who turns out was pregnant and a week later started giving birth in our bedroom at 3 a.m.
Which is how we found out she was pregnant.
Surprise.
Miles woke up and was like, what the hell? There are puppies here. Yeah. We raised 6 Great Dane puppies.
Oh my God.
Not meaning to.
Yeah, in our townhouse.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And
so after that, after that, I was like, I am super ready to never have a puppy.
Oh yeah.
Like they are adorable, but man, they make a mess. And especially Great Dane puppies grow so quickly. Like some of them were 20 pounds by the time the 8 weeks was up. Yeah. So they could go to their new homes. But we stay in touch with all of those families and like, they're all big and grown now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's adorable.
So anyway.
I love that you've been able to combine your two, like your passion for fostering animals and the markets, and
it works out really well that we work from home, so we have time to like train them or socialize them, and then bringing them to markets is like great advertising for them to get adopted.
And it makes them learn how to dog.
Yeah.
So like poor Monkey, who had been, she just turned 9 last week. And prior to that, we got her in February, and it was the breeder who dumped her there. So she had spent her entire life locked in that backyard being bred. And when you have a giant dog like that, they can be dangerous.
Yeah. Because she's like 125 pounds.
She's bigger too.
Dog. Yeah.
She's a big girl. She's intimidating.
And small for the breed. So,
but she's such a sweetheart, and like I can handle her. I'm a 5 foot tall small person, but she is just a little angel.
I don't know about that.
I remember the first time I saw her, because I was like, oh, look at the like bones of her front legs, because they're like, I don't know how to describe it.
It's like she's got that bulldog stance, kind of bowed leg kind of thing
thick,
going on.
Man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean,
she's scary to look at. No one will ever mess with me if I'm walking her.
No.
Yeah,
super sweet though.
Yeah.
So I guess to kind of like
we can talk about dogs.
Yeah, I know. I was like, we just talk about dogs. I'm a dog fan, so I'm like, let's just.
I could do a whole podcast about dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Fostering dogs.
Yeah.
This episode of the Wandering Creatives podcast is sponsored by Coutts Creations, branding and marketing for creatives by creatives. Coutts Creations serves small businesses, entrepreneurs, and creatives throughout the country with branding, marketing, and social media management. We accomplish this by creating unique graphics, a cohesive visual brand, and content that tells your brand's story and builds trust with your customers. Visit couttscreations.com and book your free consultation today.
As we start to wrap up, do you guys have anything that you're kind of currently working on that you can tell people about?
So coming up will be tons of Christmas items. We have lots of Christmas puns. We even have ornaments that we're doing for the first time this year. So I'm very excited about that. Every year after the Christmas season, I'm like, okay, we're going to have ornaments next year. And then it comes to Christmas and I'm like, okay, Nope.
Okay, next year for sure. That's the
So
one.
I literally ordered all of the parts to make ornaments in January of this year.
Nice. I mean, that's how it is. You got to start prepping. Like,
Yeah.
I've been
It would
getting
never
emails
happen
that are
otherwise.
like, start prepping for the holiday season.
I know.
Oh, shit, here it comes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to have ornaments, and we'll have all of our Christmas puns out at markets soon.
We'll probably have a Christmas dog available for adoption, I would have to guess, of some sort.
Yay. Yeah, I'm excited to see all the Christmas puns, to see what you come up with. Where can folks find you? Social media, where you selling stuff at?
Yeah. So Etsy is probably where I would point most people. Our shop on Etsy is called SKP Inc. If you search that, we should come up. And then Instagram's the other place that we post a lot, which is SKP _ Inc. And that's INK.
And if you happen to be a shop owner, then check out fair.com.
Yes, we are on fair.com, which is where our wholesale website is.
Oh, good to know.
Which is also a great resource I recommend.
Yeah.
Fair.com. Awesome.
FAIRE.
Yes.
Perfect. And you mentioned your dog has his own Instagram. What was that again?
He does. Miles and Foster Friends.
Foster Friends. Perfect. I'm gonna check that one out too.
And if you see us around town in the Bad Jokes Mobile,
leave us alone. No, I'm just kidding.
Give us a honk.
Yeah.
Or
maybe
you don't honk at me for no reason, but you know.
I can just picture you. I understand why these people are honking.
What did I do?
Just give a head nod.
A nod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one will know. Oh my god.
Give some metal horns. So.
I can't thank you guys enough for joining me today. And
Hey, man.
This has been extremely enjoyable. I've loved hearing.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Business knowledge, and listeners, as Sarah mentioned, you can find SKP Inc. on Instagram at SKP _Inc. I would also highly recommend that everyone check out their Etsy. That's etsy.com/shop/SKPINK. It's the perfect place to grab a funny card or two for the weirdo in your life. So I can't recommend it enough. Yeah, I really want to thank Sarah and Drew again for being on today's episode. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, and stay punny.
And weird. Smile while you still have teeth.
Oh, there you go. And listeners, I want to thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like, rate, and review the podcast. If you have questions, comments, thoughts, whatever, you can text or call us on our hotline, 252-419-6004, and we will include them on a future episode of the podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram at wandering_creative_, and be sure to check out our website, couttscreations.com.
This has been a Coots Creations production. Follow the show on Instagram at wandering_creative_ and on Twitter at wandering_pod. For more information, go to couttscreations.com. Like, rate, review, and subscribe. To sponsor the Wandering Creatives podcast, visit www.couttscreations.com/podcast-sponsorship-opportunities. You can also click the link in the episode description below. To be a guest or a featured maker on the podcast, click the link in our Instagram bio or contact us at couttscreationsllc@gmail.com.